That's great.
And
And are you all okay? Diego,
I'm
what?
yeah, no, just was introducing myself. I'm Diego.
Oh,
I'm from Rome, Italy. I heard about this organization from someone I know through Facebook. Well,
oh, great.
nice to
Really
meet
glad
you.
you're here.
Diego, are you in Italy right now?
Yes, I live here.
What time
Awesome.
is it there?
It's 6 p.m.
Oh, okay. Well, thanks for sharing your evening with us. So, I'm Jill Nagel. I'm the founder of Mendful, and Hallie, my co-founder, is here, as well as David, our advisor, who's also my partner. And we're going to tell you a bit about what we're up to with Mendful. We'll give you an exercise to give you a taste of what the training is like. And let me go ahead and get started by sharing my screen. Give me a moment. So I did this during the practice. Let me see if I can do it now. Now I need to open up the presenter notes. And then it will take me out of this, and I need to press 11. I actually did it. So if you're here for relational repair at the speed of life, it's kind of how we're thinking about Mendful right now. You are in the right place. This is the intro workshop of 4 different workshops. So we're going to get a very high level view and a little taste of what's in the training. But some of those other 3 workshops, all of them will give you think of them as second, third, and fourth courses in the dinner that will preview a whole restaurant, if you will, if that's the right analogy. And we already talked about permission to record. We'd love to add you to our mailing list. If you don't want to be on the mailing list, please message Hallie privately and say, no thanks, no way, hell no, or whatever your opt out words are. And we're going to talk about the app and the training. We'll do an exercise and we'll talk about how this workshop fits in with the other workshops in the series. After we do the exercise, we'll get your thoughts on that. We'll ask you for a brief evaluation, and then we'll officially end, but I'll stay on to talk about the logistics of the full training that starts in February. I think I already said this part, so I'll skip it. And so first, let's set the stage for the later exercise, and we'll do that in a moment. We'll talk about the problem that Mendful is solving, the gap in existing services, our advantage as a human forward app, and we'll show you some early screens. And then we'll go into a few of the elements of the Mendful training and let you get a taste. Whoa, what just happened? Something happened. I didn't do that. 1 second. I write these speaker notes and then I ignore them. Okay, so here's the prep for the later exercise. If you have a pen and something to write on, please get it out. So I'd like you to think of a mild, maybe medium, but a pretty simple, not epic, not world level, unresolved conflict in your life. And then write it in just 3 sentences. What happened, how you're feeling about it, and what you think about the other person involved. And I'll give you a couple of examples. If you can't think of anything from your own life, you're welcome to use these examples for the exercise later. So here's an example. This is a true one from my life. They put up a parking lot in our neighborhood, but there's a big sign that says only cars from one business can park there. So there's an empty parking lot and a bunch of cars still cluttering up our block. And I'm feeling frustrated because there's all this, I see all this wasted space and trash, and I really don't like so many cars now that this new restaurant has opened. And what do I think about the other folks involved? I think they're inconsiderate, short-sighted, and self-centered. So here's another example. This is a fictionalized one. My sister doesn't have a daughter. My sister is letting her daughter use AI to complete her high school papers. And how I'm feeling about it is kind of stunned and also confused. She is my niece after all. And what I think about the other person involved is I think she's exercising poor judgment and she's shortchanging her daughter. of the education she deserves. So take a moment, write your own if you'd like, or borrow one of these because we will be using it later. I'll leave the prompt up there for a moment. All right, so take another few seconds and finish that up, or you can continue to finish it while I'm talking. I won't see you. So what is Mendful? Mendful is an app for on-demand conflict resolution. It's human forward, and it will also have resources besides the on-demand conflict resolution. The problem that we're solving is that what we currently have falls short of what people need in the moment. Therapy has long wait times and engagement periods. It's expensive and not guaranteed to resolve your conflict. Legal mediation, because it is typically adjacent to the legal system, is often adversarial and transactional. It can divide up assets at the expense of the relationship and how you feel about the other person. And it's not really suitable for everyday interpersonal conflicts that need more empathy than it offers. AI only can lack nuance. It often fails at high stakes emotional complexity situations, and it doesn't have cultural relevance, resonance, or literacy. So here's a quick glance at how Mendful is filling the gaps in what's available. Any questions about any of that so far? Whoops. I can't see your hands raised, by the way. So Hallie, if you do, if you could call them, you can also just unmute yourself and speak out. There are enough of us. I mean, few enough of us. I don't think we'll run into a traffic jam. So if we drill down, I want to look specifically at this, how it compares to AI, because I've been asked about that. David built an MDC, nonviolent communication AI. It doesn't get what's happening when you're pausing. Right now, the AIs that I've seen, although I know that there are different ones, don't always get a sigh, a hesitation, a contraction of the body, that sort of thing. So those nuances are getting missed. Also, one of the things we'll offer on Mendful is the opportunity for the conflict resolution coaches to develop niche platforms so that people who want a counselor of a particular age or ethnicity or religion can find that cultural relevance and resonance in the person that they're coming to. They don't have to, they can just get the next available person, but we will offer that. That's something that AI can't. And hello, love. There's a reason that we have a heart as our logo. So here's what some of the early screens look like. You download the app, you get started, and then you have the opportunity to talk to either a human coach or Mendy, our AI coach. Or you can browse our library. What will the library include? Well, the library will include short DIY courses, recorded sessions, and people can use those videos, those recorded sessions, to send to somebody else and say, hey, mom, sis, dad, friend, I'd really like to have this kind of conversation with you. And we'll also have topical videos, topics that involve, that impact a lot of people. For example, a couple of months ago, I facilitated a conversation between an Israeli Jew and an American Jew about their very different ideas around Israel and Palestine. So as you can imagine, that was quite intense. A lot of people don't know how to have these kinds of topical conversations that involve big political issues. A lot of those topics, because of that lack of know-how, are tearing families apart. They're tearing groups and friendships apart. So part of our mission is to use these videos to seed the collective consciousness with new possibilities of repair, of connection, of understanding. So remember, I talked about the platform niche. So this is me, and I am a real person, but these folks are fictional to illustrate. Jamal, for example, is focusing on friendship. He calls himself a friendship whisperer. He's done this his whole life. Michael runs men's groups and helps men to reconnect with their hearts. And Sandra is working on the disconnect between Asian moms and daughters across generations and cultures in immigrant families. So somebody who comes onto the app could just get who's available. They don't have to browse, but if they do browse, they'll see like Jamal's away, but you can schedule a session. Same with Michael and Sandra. If you click into what says full bio here, you'll get something like this that you can also open up to see more. You'll also get the opportunity to meet that coach in a short video where they introduce themselves. You can see if you like their vibe or not. And then the coach will also have on the app itself blog posts, seminars, and so on, so you can see their work. And that's also another money-making opportunity for the coaches, is to be able to leave these things. And client feedback and all of these, you can, see more. And then the session itself, we're looking at creating kind of a soft feel of being held. Here we have this, a Zoom call, kind of Brady Bunch style with all these squares. We're trying to create something that feels more connected and also include bells and whistles, like being able to communicate to the coach how we're feeling, which we hope will be useful to neurodivergent folks, and also make up for the fact that some of these sessions are going to be on very small screens, and it might not always be obvious who's feeling what. Any questions about any of that? Okay.
I have.
Whoops. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm looking at that. I see your says connect now next to your name,
Mhm.
and then others say schedule. So is it like if someone happens to be on the app, then they can just do a connect now or something?
Exactly.
Okay. So if you're like running this meeting and someone writes connect now, you're not on the app, so you can't do it, right? I'm assuming.
It'll look like this. It'll say away, like Jamal and Michael and Sandra are all
Oh,
away. So it'll
okay.
be like, it might be like a green dot versus a red dot. And if
Okay.
someone's away, you can always schedule a session with them. Their calendar will come up. But if they're available and you click connect now, you will always connect with them right then.
That's cool. Thank you.
And there will be filters. Are you a danger to yourself or anyone else right now? Yeah. Call 911. We'll have that built right in, because that's not what we're there for. How activated are you feeling? If they're feeling really activated, we'll say, hey, we want to set you up for success, and we'll offer them some movement-based meditation or something to help them calm their system so that they're more likely to have a successful session. Anything else? Okay. So here's some elements of the Mendful training. We're going to do a deep dive into one, but I'm also going to first give you an overview. The lineage. So before this was Evolutionary Workplace, which is the website is still up. But before that was something called Wisdom of the Body, Beyond Talk Therapy. And the reason I developed this was that I saw how human beings are not just wounded in our bodies or in our minds or in our emotions or in our spirit. Wounding is multidimensional. And so healing also needs to be multidimensional. What I found is that when I did the immersion training, which was a 9-month training basically for personal growth and leadership, that so much of people's surus is a Yiddish word for pain and suffering, came up in the context of relationship. And so a lot of that training was focused on conflict resolution. And in real life, you don't get a chance to stop the conflict and delve into what's coming up for you typically. So we did that. We would do fast forwards and rewinds. We do a lot of do-overs in that immersion, where we would see what's coming up in the body. We would go into it, and we would help lay down new neural pathways so that the person could show up in that conversation differently the next time, that's more aligned with how they want to show up in the world. So these processes dovetailed very nicely with what you need to resolve conflict in the real world. So it also included, and I'll tell you what these are. I know some of these terms are esoteric. I promise I will explain them. A somatic model of a resource system. We're going to go more deeply into that. That's the body, little body right here. And in terms of the mind, for the Mendful training, we use nonviolent communication, NVC, based on the work of Marshall Rosenberg. And I say NVC plus here because I've developed my own body of work that explains how NVC works, what it does, and it takes it even farther. So that's why I say NVC plus linguistic models to help get underneath our own and clients' stories and interpretations and judgments. And then when I say spirit, I don't mean anything woo or religious or something that we would indoctrinate people with, but really it comes down to alignment. Like I said a moment ago, are we showing up in the world the way that we want to, whether those values of how we want to show up come from religion, humanistic values, or other ethical perspectives? So basically, the dimension of meaning, values, and purpose in our shared humanity that informs how we want to show up, wherever that might come from. So that's what we mean by spiritual. And then in terms of emotion, so much goes on into that. And all this overlaps. These nice, neat, discrete categories are very useful when it comes to explaining, but in the moment, it's all one. And so I'll just mention this one thing in terms of emotions, that a foundational practice that we teach is what I call being withness. How do we be with our own and others' emotions? And what I found, and part of the reason I developed wisdom of the body in the first place, is that many practitioners, even really experienced ones with lots of letters after their names, do not know how to do this. So it's something that we focus on, because to the extent that we can be with what comes up for us, we are that much more resourced to be with what comes up for others in a way that's useful to them. So I promised we would do this, the somatic model of a resource system. Somatic just means embodied, of the body. And a model is just a map. And a resource system means if we're resourced, then we're ready and we're able to deal with something. Like, say, a conflict between two people who come onto the app when we're a coach. And AI made this look a little bit more woo than I managed. But I call this me-sourced. And what do you notice here about this diagram? Anything? Just can call it out. What do you see here? Michael, go ahead. You can just unmute yourselves and talk.
I'm not sure that I had anything. I wasn't raising my hand, but
Oh, I'm sorry.
I was drinking water. But I see this person is grounded and well boundaried.
Mhm. Yeah, so we put the heart prominent because we want to be heart forward here. We want people to really feel the human love when they come in for a conflict, because they're hurting. They might feel alone. They might perceive that nobody understands them. So we want to be heart forward. We want to show up with our core, meaning a sense of a relationship to and an awareness of what is happening inside us. Our gut sense, our values, who we are is really there and it's intact. And along with that is a sense of what's not ours. To be able to be in a conflict with someone, with two people who are having a really hard time, and not take it on and not exit our bodies, not force anything, but to be super present and be able to resonate. And some of you might be old enough to remember weebles that wobble, but they don't fall down. They're these little cute egg-shaped things. You could push them over and push them over and push them over, and they always come straight back up. By the way, I can't see the chat, so please say it out loud if you have something you want to share.
I love that, Jill. I love that.
The weebles.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And also that sense of what's yours to own and what is not, and the confidence in core and self to know the difference. I love that as well.
Yeah. So when in my next email to all of you, I will send you a link to meditation that will help you get into the state. Now, you can do the meditation and get into the state and then go back to whatever your patterns are later. So this is really a life practice that we encourage, or whatever gets you the equivalent when you do the mental training. So let's say here, I'm the mediator here. I'm the conflict resolution coach. We're trying to get away from the term mediation, but I keep using it. And I bring this with me. I get grounded. I can feel my core. My heart is open. I know my edge. And so what that does is not only help me as the coach to work with what comes my way, but it also, in the best of worlds, it transmits that field. Like when I did the nonviolent communication mediation training, one of my teachers was Ike Lassiter, and he would just come in and sit down, and people would just like start to cry or go into their deepest feelings. It was just his presence. I will never be Ike, but I can try. I want to cultivate that kind of presence and help other people do the same, so that just a presence can help a client already begin to settle their nervous system and move from polarization with somebody else into connection. So that's what I mean when I say, we already have these capacities. And last thing I would want to do is help someone unlearn them by going up into their heads. For example, when I was in that same nonviolent communication mediation training, I was very excited about using my skills. And my best friend had already dubbed me the friend who gives the best empathy. So I already, had the street cred with her. She was saying something to me on the phone about a tough time she was having with someone else. And I was very eager to use my skills. And I said, so are you feeling angry because your need for respect wasn't met? And she yelled at me. She said, don't do NVC on me. And I was so taken aback. And I thought, well, clearly she doesn't understand the power of this model, and I need to, educate her some more. But what really happened, and we'll get to this momentarily, is that I went from that flow state of unconscious competence back down the ladder into conscious competence. I was doing a modality instead of just being present with her. So we hope you won't do that. Don't do as I did. So let's try an exercise. This is what I was just talking about. Unconscious competence is when you don't know what you don't know, like you're 6 years old and you've never driven. And then as you start to learn to drive, you're aware of what's happening and you go, oh my gosh, this is a lot to learn. And then you learn it, but you're aware of everything you're doing. And then at some point, you just flow. You're driving, but you're not thinking about the gas pedal and the brake and the steering wheel and all that. You're just in it and you're flowing. Not that you don't pay attention anymore, but it's not the same as when you were learning. And so we want to do a sort of experiment in the training with this assumption that everybody already knows. I remember like when my kid was 3, he jumped into something that his dad and I were talking about. We have these instincts, we have these capabilities, and we want to add skills to that in a way that just augments that. And you might, have to dip down into conscious competence. But we want to affirm that being human means you have these skills already. So any questions about any of that before we do an exercise? Okay, so let's play. We'll do a role play where the coach will talk to a client as if they were in an actual Mendful conflict resolution session, and the client will share about the unresolved conflict from earlier. The coach will simply listen and say, tell me more. We're not going to be very heavy on technique here. It's just presence. And we're going to start off with me being the coach and Hallie being the client. And I'm going to make it easy for you to identify what's wrong or what's not working about my level of presence. So I'm going to show up for Hallie in a way that's maybe not what you would want if you came onto the app. Then I'm going to ask you to tell me what it is, because we're going to model me taking in feedback and then incorporating it. So I'll stop sharing. And David, can you spotlight us?
Okay. Ready?
Yeah. So Hallie, welcome. I'm Jill. What's going on?
Hi, Jill. Nice to meet you. So I'm very frustrated because there is a boat parked on the curb outside my house, which is attached to a very large truck. and it's been there for months. I don't know who owns it, and it's frustrating and annoying and gets in the way. And what I think about this other person, um, is that they're very insensitive, and I'm trying to give them the benefit of the doubt.
Oh, so you had this car parked there? That really sucks. All right, so let's give me some feedback on my quality of presence. What did you notice? And be honest, be brutal if you like.
I want to say that was funny, but you know what I mean. That was funny.
Because, well, tell me more.
Because that's like me sometimes, even though most of the time, or I think I offer good presence, but then that's one of the time that I'm like, oh yeah, you got this problem. Yeah.
So you saw some of yourself there. What
Sometimes.
Yeah. What specifically did I do or not do? Pretend we're actually in a pod together and you're giving me feedback to help me be a better coach.
Janavi, did you want to say something? I noticed you unmuted.
Sure. There was unnecessary fidgeting. There wasn't full presence. The presence was divided, so there was distraction.
Thank you. Can you tell me how you would feel? I could ask Hallie. Hallie, how did you feel as the client?
I felt like you weren't listening to me.
Yeah.
Also,
would
there
you-
wasn't, oh, sorry.
No, it's okay. I'm probably what you're going to say. There wasn't any connection. And you weren't even reflecting back to me what I was saying.
Right. You're talking about a boat. I talked about a car. All right. So what advice would you give me to be a better coach?
Aru?
Yeah, I felt also like your presence was just like I felt anxiety rather than like this NVC consciousness where you're really fully present and empathizing with the person. And then you inserted like that really sucks rather than like kind of echoing what, like maybe, yeah, I'm hearing you, it sounds kind of frustrating, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. One last piece of coaching for the coach before we try again. All right, so I heard I was fidgeting, didn't give her real empathy, couldn't feel my presence. So I'm going to try again.
Hold on one second, Joe.
Yeah.
Diego, did you want to add something?
Yeah, eye contact to keep eye contact with the person who was speaking.
Yeah.
So I was also going to add something. When you did say something, I think you said like you mentioned the car on the street, but I don't think you picked up on the boat. And so there was a kind of a disconnect there of like, hey, wait a minute, did you even hear that I had it's the car with the boat, not just the car.
Yeah. Welcome, Diana. I basically tried to violate every one of my precepts just to give you some fodder to play with. Hi, Diana. So good to see you. You want to say your name and what brings you here or where you're calling from and a word about how you're feeling?
I'm Diana. I am calling in from Napa, California today and just got off another meeting, so I'm happy to be here.
Welcome. I just got roundly criticized for my performance as a coach. I'm going to take in the criticism and I'm going to try again. Hallie, can you tell me what's going on?
Sure. So there is this boat parked outside my house, and it's attached to a very large truck, and it's been there for months, and it blocks part of the street. It's hard to drive. And I'm frustrated and annoyed by it. And I think that the owner is really insensitive and inconsiderate. And I'm trying to give them the benefit of the doubt. Like maybe they have nowhere else to park it, or maybe they can't afford to find another place to park it. But it doesn't change the fact that I'm very, very frustrated with it.
Yeah, I hear your frustration. I'm also hearing you holding some, even in that frustration, some amount of care for the boat owner, like what must be going on for them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I'm going to stop there because it's not about demonstrating a full session. Critique, would you notice anything different from last time?
Janavi, you're unmuted. Did you want to say something?
Sure. Your physical body was still, and the energy was peaceful and grounded. You nodded to show, to indicate you understood, and um, uh, yeah, and then you express accurate empathy using her words.
Yeah, I was trying. I was actually a little bit nervous because I thought, all right, now if I'm trying and I'm still not well, but that's what, that's what we want to do with Mendful. We want to uplift and elevate each other and learn. In the pod work, we'll be recording ourselves and uploading those recordings and looking at each other's work and commenting. So we learn from watching what other people do, and we also get to improve by getting feedback. And we have that accelerated learning because when we give feedback to someone else, we're also teaching ourselves, right? Like, oh wow, I do that thing too. Like Sherry was saying earlier, we can see ourselves in someone else, and in addition to seeing the possibilities for the tricks they have up their sleeve that we can use too.
And I just want to add to what Jill's saying. I think that, most of us, when we're listening to someone else talk about something that's really frustrating to them, wouldn't be, looking at our nails or looking off screen or looking something up. But the Mendful training goes way beyond that. This is just a very basic taste of some of the modalities that we use.
Yeah. I want to make that clear because with such a deep and multifaceted training and only having an hour, we can't really go too far into any one thing without confusion because these things need context and they need examples and so on. So this is, as Hallie said, just a taste. Would someone else like to try it, to be the coach and the client and see how that goes? We can also, Aru. So we have Aru volunteer. Anyone else? Aru, do you want to be the coach or the client?
I'm just going to try to be the coach, but I can't say that I'm going to necessarily do it right, but I'll try.
I can be the client if you want.
The client, sure.
Unless somebody else would like to do that.
Oh, was I on mute? I'm sorry.
No.
Okay.
No, you're good.
All right, I can be the client.
Okay. You want me to do the right way or the wrong way first?
Do your best.
Okay.
Jill, you're starting as the client.
Yeah, so you can start the session, Aru, whenever you're ready.
Oh, hello. I'm Aru.
Hi, Aru.
Hello. How is your day going?
I'm really kind of shocked because my sister is actually encouraging my niece to use this AI to complete her papers for school. And I never would have guessed that this would have happened. I think of my sister as being a really ethical person, and I like how she raises her daughter, my niece. But I just think she's really shortchanging Janelle's education here because it's not forcing her to learn anything. She's just learning how to. It's like when we start using calculators instead of doing long division. So I don't really know how to talk to her about this because I think she would get defensive.
I see. So you're really concerned about your niece using AI to do her schoolwork and kind of not agreeing with the approach that your sister is taking.
Yeah, and I really care about Janelle's growth and her progress, and I want the best for her. And I don't think this is the best at all, you know?
Yeah, I hear the frustration that you're having here. Anything else?
No, I just let's stop the exercise. I felt you, I felt your empathy, and I was feeling like soothed, even though this is a made-up problem. So thank you for that. Thoughts, feedback for Aru? You can take us off of Spotlight now.
I'll share. It was a relief to my system that she didn't go immediately into problem solving mode. There was a step before that, which is to seek to understand and to demonstrate that her understanding, move in that direction, felt good, and there was spaciousness. It wasn't filled with so many words, so there was space to feel, to allow her words to land.
Thank you.
I could feel you. Oh, sorry, Diane, are you about to go?
I was going to say, additionally, that you made space for Jill to add anything. Like, did I capture, did I hear you? Did I get what you wanted me to, what you wanted to land on me? Is there anything else? It was a nice add. I don't know if you modeled that earlier since I came late, but.
Thank you.
I could feel you like connecting with me, and that was really nice. Just your face looked very friendly and warm and open, and that I felt very welcome to share. Part of me wanted an initial like something to show, like to show that, because you said there were words, and I don't remember what the words were. They were kind words for sure for me. And something about like really come almost like contacting the feeling part of me first before the words.
I'm trying to remember now what it was. You mean when you, I think I said that you were, I think I was just hearing the frustration and that your desire for your niece to, really learn, or your concern that she was using AI to do her work, and your disagreement with your sister. So kind of like echoing or
yes, and that lands with my brain, but I didn't feel as much as I could have felt in my heart. Like if you went something like like a almost I don't want to say feral, but like that kind of nonverbal, like when your dog or cat gets it.
Oh, yeah.
It's hard to describe because it's nonverbal, but part of me wanted that indescribable thing first, so that I could know to trust you more. Like the really deeply feeling part of me wanted some kind of like something nonverbal touching, just barely. It's like I feel you. And let me give an example. Well, so I just sort of gave an example of that, but let me give an example of overdoing that, which I have done. I once actually reached out and grabbed the hands of two people I was mediating with. So that's one of the patterns that we go into. Like I was over connecting, I was forcing it. Or I once had a therapist who would start going, oh, 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 whenever I would cry. And I would stop crying because it took me totally out of my experience. I'm like, whoa, can you stop that? Because it took me out of my experience. It became about her and her cooing. So this is the kind of thing we'll play with. And it's different for everyone, right? Oh, thank you for what feels completely attuned and on point for one person could feel completely overwhelming for another, or not enough for a third person. Right? So that's the kind of thing that we'll play with and get really, really good at. And that's also what will help Mendful be not only the first on-demand conflict resolution app, but also continue to be the best, because we'll keep playing with these things and sharing them. So we have enough time. We could do a quick breakout where you practice this with each other, or we could do Q&A and discussion. What would you all like? What would serve you? What would be pleasurable, rich, robust, contentful for you?
Hi, I just want to be very transparent because I'm way too tired today. Otherwise, I love whatever you propose. But if most of you want breakout room, you can leave me out. Thank you.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Thank you, Sherry. I really like knowing what's true for you, and that way we can better work with you.
Thank
We
you.
actually had someone else in the chat, a few other people in the chat say Q&A or another group demo.
Okay. Is there anyone else who would like to try this? Diana, would you like to be the coach?
Absolutely.
And
I can always
Genevieve.
up my empathy game.
Genevieve, would you be willing to be the client?
Yes.
Okay.
Genevieve, is that the correct pronunciation of your name?
Yes, thanks for asking.
Thank you. I just wanted to check in and see how I could be of use to you.
Yes, so I have some frustration. I had shared with a friend something in confidence that she then shared with others. I'm feeling really, really disappointed. It's actually been years since I've talked to her. I feel resentful, disconnected from her, feel betrayed, like I can't trust her anymore. And I just think that, yeah, she's been avoiding me. So I just feel disappointed, like, okay, that she's not a true friend after all.
I hear a lot of disappointment, frustration, even maybe confusion at the loss of this friendship after what you have labeled a betrayal, that break in confidence.
Yeah, it's not something I thought she would do. And she hasn't been accountable around it.
So it surprised you as an unexpected event. And now there's that loss that it seems like you're feeling with that friendship. She's
Yeah,
not
I feel
accountable.
sad. Right.
Yeah, sad.
All right. Well, that's a lovely phrase or paragraph we could look at. How was that for you, Genevieve?
It felt good to receive, to hear the feeling words in particular. That's what really landed, touched my heart, and brought some relief. Like, okay, I can start moving the energy around this.
And how was it for you, Diana?
Oh, I was debating whether or not to do an interpretive paraphrase or to just go with the words that Genevieve shared.
Other
A little bit
feedback?
of both.
Sorry, go ahead.
I just did a little bit of both.
Ah, okay.
I felt like I was wordy though.
Other feedback for Diana?
I'll jump in.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was really curious to see how you're going to handle the I feel betrayed, and I thought that you did that really nicely of just by sort of acknowledging that with the what you labeled as betrayal. So you didn't sort of skip it, but you didn't acknowledge that as a feeling, and so I thought that was deft. And I also noticed that coming back to Aru, I just wanted to sort of to say I noticed a contrast, and I did appreciate you led with the feelings, but I also wanted to say I actually thought, Aru, when you did your interaction, I really liked the way you'd first sort of nutshelled and made sure that you understood what it was about, and then led into the frustration. And I think that's just where there's lots of different ways of approaching it. I don't think there's necessarily always just one way. And anyway, coming back to you, Diana, I thought, yeah, as I say, I particularly like that little piece, and that you clearly connected in a very heartfelt way with Genevieve.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for this. So this is a taste of what working in the training will be like. A lot of hands-on, a lot of practice, and then dialing it up. I was very eager. My very first NVC mediation class I ever took, I was very eager to get some hands-on work. And my teachers wisely thought, we're not going to open up a clinic with people who've had 3 classes. We're just not going to do that. And so I put the word out to my networks. Hey, I want to practice my skills. And so the very first mediation of my entire life, mind you, the male female couple, the woman was just fawning over this man. He sat down and he said, I am a dominant male, and when my wife married me, she agreed to obey, love, honor, and obey, and that is what I want from her. My very first mediation. Right? What was I thinking? I actually didn't do too badly because I'm so used to functioning over my own feelings. But be careful what you ask for, right? But that illustrates my point, is that even if we do like our skills are like 3 on a scale of 10, we can still, when 2 people come together, that's, I don't know what, John, you're in this field, that's 75% of it, just the fact of them coming together. And then even a crappy mediator can kick that up another 5 or 10%. But when we really have exquisite skills, that's when we can drive it all home. So I kicked it up a little bit with my beginner skills. And it's a good example of how you're all already perfect conflict resolution coaches, just as you are. And the training will help you hone and get even better, because that's what we think the world needs. So any questions or thoughts about any of this before we do an evaluation?
Yeah, I was just, is this Q&A part as well, or?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and I enjoyed watching Diana and Johnavie. Thank you. That was nicely modeled empathy. Also, yeah, so the question is, are the people that are sign up for this Mendful to be coaches, are they supposed to be certified through Mendful, or is it like anyone, or how does it work?
There are no prerequisites. The only thing we ask is that you don't go and start a competing app. You can use it in your own practice if you want. You can use it for anything you want. You don't have to work on the Mendful app, but we do need people to staff the app because it's going to have a first launch in June. And the certification process is collaborative. And that means, because we want to set you up for success, that you agree and your peers agree and I agree that you're ready.
Mhm. Is there a cost to that process, or is it a certification? Like what are the details of that?
I'm gonna do that at the end, but we
Okay.
just, yeah. It will be a small cost for this first cohort, because the first cohort, you're going to not only be ushering Mendful into its maiden voyage, but part of that is you'll get to test the app, you'll get to see what works and what doesn't. Some of you may become some of the first trainers on the app. So it's going to be kind of hard scrabble in terms of, it's raw material that's not yet refined. You're going to be part of that refinement process. So we'll probably run it at cost. It'll be like around $500 for what is it, 3 months of, it's a very accelerated training. It'll take about 5 hours per week to do it, because normally this would be something over like 6 or 9 months. But I'll talk more about that at the end. I want to make sure there's room for more questions and time for the evaluation.
Johnavie?
Feel fascinated about your intention to help move coaches from unconscious, what was it, unconscious incompetence to unconscious competence. Very fascinating. I'm wondering if you could say just a little bit more about that, about how you see that happening.
About taking that jump?
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. So when I was doing the immersion in 2017, 2018, and I was trying to teach empathy guesses, people were having a really hard time remembering what feelings there were to guess from. And so you could sort of see, in terms of presence, you could sort of see people going up into their heads and doing things like, are you feeling confused? So the struggle to recall the feelings was interfering with their presence. And so they were kind of being pushed down into that space between conscious incompetence and conscious confidence. So I changed the exercise. I said, all right, I want you to lean into the person next to you and be as present as you can and just say, are you feeling X because you're wanting Y? And suddenly the presence just changed. Everyone felt the presence when the steps that they had to remember were out of the way. So that was one way of making that leap. And some of it we're going to experiment with. You know, you might have some ideas that I never thought of, and so might others.
Really clear and beautiful. Thank you.
Other thoughts, questions?
Jill, let's wait for more questions. Let's do the evaluation
Let's
because
do
we
the
have 5 more
evaluation right
minutes
now.
left, and then people can stay and ask questions
Okay.
afterwards
So
if they'd like.
Yeah, Holly's going to put a link in the chat right now, and if you could just click on that and take 2 minutes and 37 seconds to Ashish, can you wait until after the evaluation? Just want to give people some quiet for that. Does everyone have it?
So if you don't finish the evaluation right now, it's fine. You can come back and finish it later. We just wanted to at least start the process here so no one forgets about it.
I'm just looking at all the chat messages that I didn't see. Take another minute and finish that up. And while you're finishing, want to say again that this is the intro workshop for actually it's a 4 workshop series. And in attunement, we'll be looking at the different patterns that can take you or a client out of presence and working with one of those patterns in particular. In empathizing with the enemy, we're going to be looking at situations like the pretty extreme one that I described. We had a holiday version where, how do you talk to Aunt Fred across the Uncle Fred, Aunt, whoever, relative across the dining room table when they're saying things that you find so untenable. And then concepts, models, and philosophies, that's going to be, if you really want to geek out more about that somatic model, also about my body of work around NVC that contextualizes it, makes sense of it. I've had students tell me, I've taken NVC and now I finally understand it. So that will be participatory, but it'll be more discussion. We won't really have exercises. Maybe we'll have one small one, but that's going to be more didactic and full of discussion. Does anyone need more time? As it is now, we have just 2 more minutes. And I can move to the talking about the logistics of the immersion, unless anybody has anything else before we go. Ashish, you had a question.
I was a bit unclear about that empathy guess thing that you mentioned.
The what thing?
How if the empathy guess exercise, how it changed, because ultimately the coach had to make an empathy guess.
Mm-hmm.
So how it became easier. Yeah.
So that was, yeah, good call. That was just one step. So for those who don't know, an empathy guess is when you ask someone what they're feeling and you use a 1-word feeling description like, are you feeling sad? Are you feeling angry? And what was happening was that my students were getting tripped up and trying to find the right word. And so they're going up into their heads, and their receiving person couldn't feel them. And so what I suggested was replacing the word with just X. Are you feeling X? And when they took away the word, they didn't have to go up into their head, and they could concentrate on being present. Once somebody has mastered that skill more, the words will just come. I think what you're asking is, well, what do you do in the meantime? Like, if you don't have the
No,
words, you don't want to go up into your head, and you really want to be present with somebody, what do you do? Is that partly what you're asking?
no, probably the the part that we had to guess the feelings, that we didn't escape that part. Ultimately, we had to guess the feeling. So how it became easier, that part I couldn't understand. But anyways, I can wait and ask later.
So I want to end officially and say thank you for coming. And if you can stay later, I will stay as long as I can and geek out with you and tell you more about the training. But Aru, you had raised your hand. I wonder if you wanted to respond to what Ashish said.
Yeah, I think it sounded like he was saying that we have to make an empathy guess, but I think that the empathy guess is just one of the potential tools to showing empathy. Like they actually say that just silence is, and I forget what they call it, just being present with the person and holding that empathy space, and then reflection. And it's not everybody likes the empathy guesses. They can, you kind of got to get the feel for it. Like when you're in that consciousness, like, is this going to really help this person or maybe not?
I want to tell you a quick story that may or may not help. When my son was about 2 and I was really excited about learning NVC, I would say to him, Kanan, are you feeling frustrated because your need for autonomy is not met? And he would go, yeah. And my friends would go, Jill, he's not understanding. I'm like, yes, he is. Yes, he is. I can feel it. But I thought they might be right. And so I tried an experiment one time. The next time he was frustrated, I'd say, Kanan, are you feeling verschimmeled because pigeons aren't really sparrows? And he went, yeah. And I thought, darn, I'm busted. They were right. But then I realized that he wasn't responding to the words. He was responding to my tone and my body language, leaning in, making eye contact with him, showing him that I cared. Ashish, you're nodding. Does that help at all?
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, Aru.
I think for those of you that need to leave because people are hopping off and we don't get a chance to say goodbye, if you want to leave now, that's totally fine. Thank you for coming. And if you want to work on the evaluation in the future, that would be awesome. And then whoever wants to stay and speak with Jill a little more, feel free. So thank you.
Thanks, everyone. I will share the details of the training. So we recently decided that the February 2026 cohort would be fully remote, even though we really, really want to do it in person. A lot of people who want to attend, it's just too much for them to get here, and it's going to cost us too much. So we're calling this an accelerated alpha pilot training, and we're going to keep it low cost. It's going to be very high participation. You're going to get a chance to evaluate each other and the curriculum and the app. And so if you're up for this ragtag band of merry conflict resolution coaches, we think it'll be a fantastic experience. We are super excited that this is the first cohort of coaches that will be working on the app. Our goal for those working on the app is, once we have enough customers, that you could work 25 to 35 hours a week and make a healthy 6 figures, or you could have a nice part-time gig that we really, because I know people on BetterHelp, like therapists, are making $30, $40 an hour. We want to really put money in people's pockets because we think this is some of the most important work in the world. So the training will be 3 long weekends, about 6 weeks apart. And the long weekend is a Thursday afternoon or evening through early Monday. So with 3 full days of training in 1/4 or third day. And those dates for 2026 are February 5th through 9th, March 19th through 23rd, and April 30th through May 4th. Right now, we have not yet updated the website to include the fact that this will be remote training, so you can ignore that part if you go to the website, but those dates should be correct. And then we'll put you in pods.
The timings, I'm not seeing the timings. I know I'm super busy, with my NVC certification underway. So the timings would be of interest to me as well,
Yeah.
not just dates.
They're going to be pretty full days. The Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So like something like 9 to 5 or 9 to 4 Pacific time.
Okay. Yeah, so are there avenues for people that would not have that in their schedule to do?
There will be eventually. Someone else others have asked, can we skip the training and just go straight to certification? And we will have that set up, but we don't right now because we have so many other moving parts.
And not necessarily skip the training, just I would say go through only the pods that you need, maybe.
Or asynchronous, like something like that. If there's videos or something like that, that it could be done on your own time, maybe.
Yeah, we really do want to make it as accessible as possible because we know there are people with lots of gifts for this who would be great Mendful conflict resolution coaches in many parts of the world, and we want to make it as accessible, as doable, and as efficient as possible while still, having that quality that we're looking for.
Or even like a feedback committee. I mean, I'm assuming that these things are not being recorded, right? Like when you're on with the client, it's not recording the client. At least I don't know if it's going to be recording the coach, and then later on you provide feedback, or how that's going to work.
In the training, you'll record all of your pod meetings, and then you'll upload that recording. And part of the work of the training is to get feedback from other people and give feedback to other people so that we continually learn from each other, elevate each other, uplift each other, and get as good as possible.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I think Aru was very helpful with all the questions. I was really, I guess you mentioned something. This is usually 6 to 9 months. Obviously, at this point, you're trying to do the accelerated, but do you think, say, if accelerated is too much, are you going to offer the regular 6 to 9 months fully remote or maybe with in person? Because again, I'm also thinking about my own timeline for how I can weave this great program. I'm so excited, but it's like so full at the same time.
Yeah. The next cohort will start, I think, in May, and I think that one is 6 months.
Okay.
I think we said June actually, because this one ends April, May. So
right.
Yeah,
We don't want too much overlap. Yeah, we want it to be doable. And this is super helpful feedback for us in terms of structuring it. If you are in somewhere other than the Bay Area, which I'm guessing a lot of you are, and you can pull together a group of people, I can come and train them and do it in person.
Not at this time, but worth the thought.
Because we want to have people all over the world offering sessions in different time zones, culturally relevant to your background, your ethnicity, your geography.
Sherry, remind me where you're located.
Yeah. So right now I'm in Vancouver, Canada, but if you start in June, I know I'm gonna likely take time to, because there's an IIT that Zen VC couple are doing, and I was kind of, or will be, I don't know. But anyway, so then I'll head to Asia, and that's where my parents are as well. They're in Taiwan. So it's sort of like if I join, there's going to be some of part of this, it'll interfere with the time zones. Yeah. So
Yeah, that's such a good argument for creating asynchronous training, which you'd still then need like humans to work with. And also for having location specific training. I would love to go to Taiwan and do a training. I'd want to have.
yeah, I know. I was gonna say, I think there's pros and cons, as you everyone here knows. Yeah, pros and cons for fully remote versus, some in person. So thank you.
For example, I'm in Indianapolis. I know a couple people on this call are in New York. Jill's in the Bay Area of California. Ashish is in India. So we're all over.
Yeah, I'm in Louisville, but I do come out to California. I'm actually going out there for 2 retreats it's in 2026. So, and my son's in near San Jose, and my sister is as well. So maybe when I'm there, I can do that retreat and then how long would it be? Like if you do an in-person, would it be a few days or?
Well, I'm following the model of different retreats that I participated in, like including the nonviolent communication mediation training, which was like a long weekend where you arrive on a Thursday night, you have Friday, Saturday, and Sunday to train because you don't want to get too overloaded, and then Monday you leave. Tell us when you're coming out, though. We'll see what we can do.
Yeah, I mean, I have I'm on this NVC mentorship and leadership program all next year, as well as Sarah Payton's neuroscience thing, which is once a week. So I'll have my hands full with that. So if I do a retreat, it may be like a Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday thing, because every Thursday I'm like booked. But yeah, I'll get in touch with you whenever you think that you might be doing one. So
okay. Yeah, and you're on our list, so you'll know.
Okay, yeah. But I think I have one out there in April and then one in October, early October. But I'll be up there.
It'd be nice to meet you.
Thank you so much for this.
You're so
really
welcome. It's
great.
always good to see you, Aru.
You too. Thank you.
We can carpool. We're about 2 hours. I'm about 2 hours from you, driving distance. So plane pool, I don't think that works.
You are, Hallie. Where are you located?
Indianapolis.
Oh, okay, nice. Yeah, that's very close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else? Maybe we can close.
Yeah, I think I'm okay. I think other things I'll email because my brain is a little fried. Thank you.
I hope your friend is okay, Sherry.
Yeah.
Especially, yeah, I'm waiting for her update. She knows. Thank you. Yeah, I just spent several hours there, so I just had to, leave for work. So yeah, thank you though. Yeah. Great. Take care, everyone. I look forward to staying in touch.
Thanks,
Likewise,
Sherry.
Sherry.
Yes, too.
Thanks so much.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, Ashish.